Hi everyone, welcome back to Abra Knowledge channel. Today's topic is very profound, very deep. The topic is NCR writing. So NCR, you all know, non-conformity report writing. In this one, picked up 10 different case studies, and these are all very general and very specific. And this will be very useful for you to go over the class numbers, find out whether there is any non-conformity, whether it's observation, whether there is a minor non-conformity with major non-conformity, how to pick up the class number, the right class numbers, and all that. You're going to get that art from this video. Please stay tuned till the end. You will get the amazing piece of information. So the first question, here we go. So auditor was performing an audit in procurement function. Auditor looked at preferred supplier list or approved vendor list. He notices that supplier ABC was not in the approved list. However, resistor was procured from it. The invoice number 123 Jan 01. Auditee given the justification that it was urgent request and for production. Hence, went for local supplier who can supply with the less cycle time to meet the production target. So justify whether NC or observation, state the class number. So this is very common scenario which you might find it in the production, in the manufacturing. So there is something called approved vendor, and the part is being procured from the local vendor, which is not approved, which is not in the approved list. So in this case, how do we deal with this? So the standard is very, very clear on this requirement. So if you read the class number 8.4, where it says that, let me also pick up the class, standard also as well, so that we can compare and do that. Let me pick up the ISO class, this thing. The standard is very clear. Let me go to 8.4. And in this 8.4, okay, so 8.4 all the way, it talks about various rules and various things which we need to follow. For example, let me just, 8.3 is over. Okay, 8.4. Okay, externally provided, the control of externally provided processes, product or services, general. So this is the general, and then here it says type and extent of control. So if you look at it here, actually the 8.4.1, I'm not going to go over the entire one because the organization it has more specific, the guidelines have been directly given in the standard. I'm not going to go over all the classes, but quickly I wanted to read it out, the requirement. The organization shall, so this is back to an organization. Organization has to define, shall determine, apply the criteria for the evaluation. Wherever shall is there, you all know it's a requirement, right? Apply the criteria for evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and re-evaluation of external provider. So external provider, you all know, the external provider is nothing but supplier based on their ability to provide the processes and product and service in accordance with the requirement. So this is very important. The organization shall retain document information of these activity or any necessary action arising from the evaluation. So how do we evaluate? So here in this case, new supplier was being, the local supplier was being chosen, but evaluation is not there, right? So this is a mandatory requirement. We also need to have the retained document information, that is record. So you can give 8.4.1 the last para, or you can also talk about something called here also 8.4.2 also, it talks about the same thing. Determine the verification, other activities necessary to ensure that externally provided processes, product meet the requirements. So you can even give this thing, because fundamentally the assessment itself is not there. So I will plug it into general. So if the assessment is there, some kind of discrepancy is there, then I can come back to 8.4.2 and 8.4.3 and all that. So even we can quote 8.4.3 also as well. For example, let's say the approval of product, services, method, and competence and all that, and verification, validation activity that the organization, its customer intend to perform at the external provider premises. So in this case, very straightforward the scenario where it does not have that evaluation itself. So they have not done that evaluation of external provider, that is supplier. So I would like to stick with 8.4.1. Why? Because so the evaluation itself is not done. So it's a NC, and we need to log it. It's a NC. I'm gonna give it's a NC, and the class number could be 8.4.1. Although there is also the extended requirement is there in the last para. Extended requirement is there in 8.4.2 and 8.4.3 and all that. So in this video, what I will do, I will just classify whether it's NC or an observation, and then we can identify spot the class number. In the upcoming one, what I will do, the same thing, I will help you to write that how to write the non-conformity and all that. So I will split this video by 2. So you conduct an audit for manufacturing department. Operator shown that the document number 123D for soldering machine, whereas the observed the engineer was holding the another version E. Both documents do carry the different set of limits, that is soldering limits on the standard soldering temperature. Justify whether NC observation conformance, state the class, and make the NC report. So in this case, the operator was having D and engineer is having E. Both are different versions. So in this case, how do you read it? Whether it's observation or NC and all that. So it's a clear-cut NC. And what is the class number? You can read for all the documentation. The easy class is 7.5.2, right? So let us go to the standard 7.5.2. So I'm just going to 7.5.2. So either you can go to 7.5 document information. You can even go for 7.5.2 or 7.5.3. Here the documents are there, created and updated. But the problem here, that's what we need to evaluate. So how do we need to, in this case, the document is there. So you saw that there are 2 documents were there, right? D and E version. So both are there. But here more of is available, suitable for use where and when it is needed, right? So this is the problem. Or it is adequately protected. So this is the problem. So 7.5.3.1 is the class number. 7.5.3.1. Okay, let's read the next one. Very interesting. While reviewing the training record, training evidence was not found. So in this case, the training evidence is not found for Mr. John. Already said that it was misplaced for Jan 20 records. No, and one more sample. So in audit, basically what we do is we take the more trialing sample, right? One more sample was taken to verify the evidence of conformity. Also, the entire month of Jan record were not found. No record were found and justify whether NC as observation or conformance. So it's a clear-cut NC. And what is the class number? So anything and everything on the training one. So you will give a class number 7.2. And more specifically, we will go to the standard 7.2. If you read it, 7 competence, right? So in this one, more specifically D, but I would like to give 7.2 whole class. Why? Because so in order to set the context, you have to go back to the previous one, right? So 7.2, I would like to one stay, but more specific class 7.2.D, right? 7. Okay, but actually while giving the NC, because actually retain appropriate document information, what the question will come, right? So we are talking about the training records, right? So that's the reason we need to go and copy the whole standard, a whole class. Quality objective and quality policy for FY fiscal year 21 not in sync. Okay, first thing. And quality policy shows that customer satisfaction is the main goal of the company. However, quality objective does not show any evidence that how the customer satisfaction is measured. Okay, so this is what very, very important. We are talking about quality policy. Quality policy, you all know the class number 5.2.1 and 5.2.2. And quality objective is 6.2. We are talking 2 subjects. But the gap is there in quality objective. Quality objective, this is the gap. Quality objective does not show any evidence on how the customer satisfaction is measured, right? And monitored. So quality objective class is 6.2. So let's go to 6.2. Let's see what 6.2 says is. Okay, we can go to 6.2. So in this end, quality objective and planning to achieve them. So the class number is right. And in this case, you see that D point, be relevant to the conformity of product and services to enhancement of customer satisfaction. So enhancement of customer satisfaction is a mandatory requirement. So I would like to go, it's a NC, it's a clear-cut NC, and the class number is 6.2.1, and more specifically D, right? Why D? So this is what D, it talks about it. Let's go to the another one. Very interesting, right? So you conduct an audit for hospital. Okay, there were 2 test reports were found at different dates. However, there was age and gender were missing, were found to be different. RDT explained that it was typo error, it was being corrected immediately. How do you react to this? So in this case, actually, you remember, as per ISO 19011, any NC has been identified, we should not withdraw it. We should look for preventive action. We should look for how we can avoid these occurrences, reoccurrences, right? So in this case, it's a clear-cut NC because they're very critical, because if the test reports were being identified mistakenly on the age and gender, the doctor might take the wrong decision. So the impact is more. From the risk angle, the impact is more. So you can give 7.5.2, entire class you can give. So 7.5 point, so that identification will be done, and then the protection will be. Why I choose to give 7.4, 7.2? Let me give the justification. So I'm just going to 7.5. Okay, 7.5. So all these actually is there, right? So we need to have a documentations and creating and updating. And then, so you also have something called, the control of document, right? So adequately protected, and it is available, use where it is needed and all that. So, but actually, like, we can give in the upper one, so that actually they will ensure that, the right identification and description is there. I think 7.5.2 also should be okay. But actually, like, we can also see that how they have done that, what is the level of procedure they have, how they're identifying it, and all that we can give. So 7.5.2. So now let's talk about very important topic, very little twisting, but very interesting. Auditor was checking for awareness with Mr. ABC on quality objective. Now we're talking about quality objective. Mr. ABC said that he is not aware of quality objective, not aware of customer complaint which arose in his department back in September 2020. Area audited is line number B12, justify whether NC observation and conformance, state the class, and make the NC report. In this case, we're talking about one quality objective 6.2, and one we are talking about the awareness issue. Quality objective also not aware, and customer complaint which is there, it is not aware. So here the theme we are talking about awareness, right? So awareness has got a class. So it's a NC awareness. You all know the class number of awareness, 7.3. So let's go to the standard 7.3. Awareness. So what are the awareness? 4 awareness we need to have: quality policy, quality objective, and their contribution to the effectiveness of QMS, the implications for not conforming with the QMS. So the right class is 7.3 B and D, but actually I would like to go with more all the 7.3 as a parent. Okay, process interaction matrix, DOC 2221001 revision B was verified. The document does specify the scope. However, design and department is not part of the process. So they should, whereas the exclusion is not made, right? So in this case, it's also a NC, and they have to make a proper process interaction matrix, that is 4.4. Let's go to the another one, 8th one. Previous audit, July 20 result was verified. There was a NC raised on 7.5.2 for using uncontrolled document in Jan 20. Actions were verified, and while checking the effectiveness, was found that there were 4 documents where continued to hold the uncontrolled copy. Audit explained that it is not possible to fix the root cause since many change happens within shift and new joiners. So justify whether NC and all that. So here we are talking about multiple subjects. We are talking about previous audit 9.2.2, and also we are talking about 7.5.2. This was the gap was identified. We are also talking about the action were verified while checking the effectiveness. First found that 4 documents will continue to hold the uncontrolled copy. Audit explained that the possible to fix the root cause is not been fixed permanently. So 10.2 also we are talking about. We are talking about 9.2.2. We are talking about 7.5.2. We are talking about 10.2. So the right class number for this one will be, so the previous audit. So here the copy, here the main problem is the root cause is not fixed permanently. So I would like to give NC 10.2. So let's see the 10.2. You will get to know more reference about it. So let's go to 10.2. So 8.5. Okay, 10.2. Okay, so 10.2. Okay, so in 10.2 it says that very clearly, evaluate the need, evaluate. Now the word, even the root cause also has to be evaluated, right? Evaluate the need for an action to eliminate the cause of the non-conformity. Here in this non-conformity is in internal one, or it could be customer complaint. We need to evaluate the need for an action to eliminate the causes, whatever the causes, in order that it does not recur or occur elsewhere by. So 10.2.1 and B will be the right class number. And ninth one, very interesting. The MRM review record was verified procedure PROQEQ 1991B, revision number 2, calls for half yearly frequency. The due was July. The RDT explained that it was cancelled due to pandemic. No evidence could be seen whether the consent obtained from leadership team. RDT explained that the MRM is only conducted when set arrangements such as availability of resources are available. By further examine, it was found that 5 years, it was found only record were found were 5. So in 5 years, they're supposed to have 10. They had only 5 records. Audited on 14th August 2020, justify whether NC observation or conformance, state the class. So in this case, there are 2 fundamental problems. One problem is actually the current, MRM record was not there, and it is the consent is not being gained from the management. Another one, as a whole, so as a trailing audit, as a whole, it was found that the procedure calls for half yearly, but with 5 years they should have typically they need to have 10 records, but only 5 records were there. So it's a clear-cut NC against 9.3. Let's see why it is 9.3. Okay. So in this case, the first it says the top management shall review the organization. Okay, this is the one, right? Organization quality management system with plan intervals. The organization can define. They have defined half yearly. That's fine. To ensure its continuous suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness, alignment with the strategic direction of the organization. The organization, the management review shall be planned and carry out, taking into this one. This is the, the agenda is being given. So, but what we need to have is, now we are talking about output, right? 9.3.3. So output of the management review shall include the decision and action related to opportunity for improvement and all that. So I would like to give, because they also need to revise that procedure if at all not feasible to do half yearly, they need to do only in yearly. So I would like to give the parent class number 9.37. The last question, here we go. The laptop LAP SS123 returned by customer as a warranty return against the invoice 200853312 during testing on 1st April 2020. Laptop, so okay, the laptop returned as a customer complaint and laptop was being tested. While testing it, what happened? Laptop circuit board had a short circuited and there was a lead time of 53 days. It been short circuited, kept it aside. No communication, no interim status shared to the customer. So justify whether NC is an observation. So first actually is the preservation of the product, right? It's a clear NC. Why? Because they should have communicated back to the customer. And what is the class number? 8.5.3. Why 8.5.3? Let's see. 8.5.3. Okay, so if you look at it, property belonging to the customer or external provider, that is supplier. So here it says that when the property of a customer external provider is lost or damaged, otherwise found to be unsuitable for you, the organization shall report this to the customer, an external provider, and have the record. So in this case, 8.5.3 is the NC. I hope all the 10 case studies which we went through are very, very interesting. Let me quickly recall those 10 NCs. First NC was on 8.4.1. Why we have given 8.4.1? Because 8.4 is refers to what? The supplier, right? External provider. So you remember that 8.1 is only, no, I will give that justification and tips and tricks why it is 8.4, why not another classes. So 8.1, it talks about, the planning. 8.2 is requirement gathering, then design and development, then identifying whether you wanted to do supply with yourself or with the supplier, 8.4. And 8.5 is, production and then controls and so on. So 8.4 is the right class number. So let's see the next one. You're conducting audit for manufacturing. Here the document, two different documents. Anything document 7.5.2 or 7. And then in this specific case, the identification was a problem, 7.5.3.1. And while reviewing the record, anything training record, straightforward, 7.2. And in this case, the quality objective does not show any evidence how the customer satisfaction. Quality objective has a class number 6.2. And you're conducting a hospital. And again, the test reports were different. So 7.5.2. And auditor was checking the awareness, 7.3. And process interaction matrix 4.4. Previous audit finding. Here the main problem is possible to fix the root cause since many changeover happens. So the root cause has to be fixed, 10.2.1. And MRM is the one. So MRM actually again 9.3, straightforward class. And the identification preservation of product 8.5.3. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be making part 2 where I will be explaining that how to write that non-conformity and how to write that standard requirement, how to write that the sentences which we need to put, how to tag that objectivity, that is evidence and all that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there also has been many requests for me to make this video. That's the reason I made it electronic format. I will be giving this link, so you can take this link and you can have a practice multiple number of time. It will be very, very useful for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe my channel. You have a wonderful day ahead.